Trust your process, the resilience revolution. Have you ever looked at your life and thought, this isn't where I'm supposed to be? That moment when the gap between your dreams and your reality feels like a canyon with no bridge in sight. I recently had the profound privilege of interviewing Latoya Jackson Tucker, a visionary whose work has transformed how we understand resilience in business and life. Her insights weren't just informative, they were revolutionary. Latoya has built a legacy of empowering thousands of entrepreneurs to persist when every logical voice was screaming, quit. Her methodologies have reshaped how we understand the entrepreneurial journey, particularly for those facing systemic barriers. She doesn't just talk about resilience, she embodies it with a grace that makes the impossible seem merely inconvenient. The message she shared is deceptively simple, yet extraordinarily powerful. Never stop, no matter what it looks like. Trust your process. Those words might sound like something you'd find on a coffee mug or inspirational poster. But beneath their simplicity lies a truth that has built empires, healed wounds, and transformed lives. It's a truth that Latoya embodies with every fiber of her being. When we examine the journeys of extraordinary people, we often focus on their achievements, the moment they made it. But what about all those invisible moments? The rejections, the nights spent questioning everything, the mornings when getting out of bed felt like climbing Everest. That's where the real story lives. That's where transformation happens. Consider Janice Bryant Howroyd. Before she became the founder of a $1 billion company, she was just a woman with $1,500 and a dream that seemed impossible. As a Black woman entrepreneur, starting out during a time when both those identities came with built in barriers, she faced discrimination that would have crushed many spirits. Imagine walking into rooms where no one looks like you, where your very presence is questioned before you even speak, where you're starting with limited capital in an industry that demands it. But Janice did something remarkable. She leaned into her unique perspective rather than hiding from it. She built networks that valued diversity when diversity wasn't even part of the conversation. She maintained a relentless focus on her vision when the world kept suggesting she should aim lower. Today, her company, ACT1 Group, stands as the largest minority woman owned work solutions company in America. It transforms millions of lives through job placements and empowerment initiatives. But that transformation didn't happen overnight. It happened because Janice trusted her process, even when that process looked messy, uncertain, and impossibly slow. Coming from humble beginnings in North Carolina during segregation, she refused to let societal limitations define her future. Her story proves that trusting your process can break generational cycles of limitation. But resilience isn't just about pushing through, it's about recognizing that every setback is actually a setup for a comeback. Consider Lisa Price, the founder of Carol's Daughter. Her journey began in her kitchen, mixing natural ingredients for hair and skin products. Not in a fancy lab, not with millions in venture capital. In her kitchen, Lisa faced funding hurdles that would have stopped many entrepreneurs in their tracks. She encountered racial discrimination within a beauty industry that wasn't ready to recognize the needs of Black women. But instead of abandoning her vision, she doubled down on it. She stayed authentic, prioritizing quality over quantity. She leveraged grassroots marketing within Black communities when mainstream channels weren't available to her. She trusted that each small step would lead somewhere meaningful, even when recognition was painfully slow in coming. Eventually, Carol's daughter reached shelves nationwide and was acquired by L'Oreal, but it remains rooted in its mission of empowering women through self care rituals inspired by heritage. Lisa's patience and persistence paved paths for other entrepreneurs who look like her and prove that every kitchen table dream matters. As Latoya Jackson Tucker emphasized in our conversation, this kind of resilience becomes your superpower. The journey will be filled with obstacles, discrimination, lack of resources, burnout. But pressing on despite these challenges defines true leadership. Now let's talk about Venus Quates. After leaving military service, Venus founded Launch Tech and became an Incubus 500 tech entrepreneur, thriving in government contracting sectors like healthcare and energy. As one of few Black women leaders in STEM fields, Venus battled isolation and systemic bias throughout her career journey. What did she do? She invested heavily in building relationships, living by the mantra, your network is your net worth. She proactively recruited diverse talent even during challenging times, such as contract transitions or economic downturns. The result? Launch Tech scaled rapidly, becoming a 3-time Inc. 500 honoree. The company expanded nationally and even funds scholarships sending girls to STEM camps. Venus continues breaking ceilings today. Her story is particularly powerful because she pivoted careers multiple times. Each transition could have been a stopping point. Each new beginning could have been the moment she said, this is too hard. I'm starting over again. Maybe this isn't for me. But Venus trusted that each transition would bring new opportunities if she didn't give up. Her visibility now inspires young Black girls considering careers where they rarely see themselves represented. This brings me to another crucial insight from my conversation with Latoya Jackson Tucker. Community and self care are non negotiable elements of sustainable success. Success isn't just about individual achievement, it's about uplifting your community while caring for yourself along the way. Too often, we sacrifice our well being on the altar of accomplishment. We push ourselves beyond healthy limits. We forget that rest isn't a reward, it's a requirement. The women whose stories I've shared today didn't succeed despite their communities. They succeeded because they built and nurtured communities. They understood that true resilience isn't a solo sport. It requires connection, support, and the humility to both give and receive help. And they recognized that caring for themselves wasn't selfish, it was strategic. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot lead effectively when you're running on fumes. You cannot trust your process when you're too exhausted to even see it. This is particularly relevant for Black women who have historically carried the weight of so many expectations to be strong, to sacrifice, to solve problems that weren't of their making. The Revolutionary Act isn't just in building businesses or breaking barriers, it's in claiming the right to rest, to heal, to prioritize your own well being without apology. As Latoya Jackson Tucker so eloquently stated, trusting your process leads to transformation. Staying committed, even when progress seems invisible, allows you to build something greater than yourself. Every setback truly is a setup for a comeback, but only if you stay in the game long enough to see it through. I want you to think about something in your life right now that you've been tempted to abandon. Maybe it's a business idea that hasn't gained traction. Maybe it's a relationship that feels stuck. Maybe it's a personal goal that seems further away now than when you started. What would happen if you trusted your process for just a little longer? What if the breakthrough is just around the corner, waiting for you to take one more step? I'm not suggesting blind optimism. I'm not saying that every path should be pursued indefinitely. Sometimes trusting your process means recognizing when a particular approach isn't working and having the courage to pivot. But there's a difference between strategic pivoting and giving up. There's a difference between reassessing your route and abandoning your destination. The women we've discussed today, Janice Bryant Howroyd, Lisa Price, Venus Quates, they all faced moments when giving up would have been the easiest choice, the most logical choice, even. But they chose to trust their process instead. They chose to believe that their journey, however winding, was taking them somewhere worth going. So here's my challenge to you today: find that thing you've been ready to abandon, that dream you've started to doubt, that goal that feels impossible, and give it one more day, one more week, one more honest effort. Then do something radical. Share your struggle. Tell someone about the process you're trusting, even when you can't see the results yet. Because when you speak your commitment aloud, something shifts. When you allow others to witness your resilience, you not only strengthen your own resolve, you become the example someone else needs. Your process isn't just for you. Your resilience isn't just about your success. When you refuse to give up, you become a lighthouse for others navigating their own storms. This isn't about toxic positivity or denying reality. It's about recognizing that your challenges are part of your story, not the end of it. It's about understanding that the most powerful transformations often happen in the darkest moments, when you can't see the path ahead, but you take the next step anyway. So today, I invite you to stand a little taller, to let hope burn brighter than fear, to trust your process toward greatness, even when, especially when, that process looks nothing like you imagined it would. Because as Latoya Jackson Tucker so powerfully demonstrated, the journey that tests you the most is often the one that transforms you the most. And that transformation isn't just about what you achieve, it's about who you become along the way. Never stop, no matter what it looks like. Trust your process. The world is waiting for what only your completed journey can create.